Donald Trump just gave a disastrous press conference from the White House lawn. He answered questions from reporters. A reporter asked him if he was briefed by Pam Bondi on the Epstein files. Is he on the list? Here, Donald Trump says that, you know what? These files were made up by Obama and Clinton and James Comey. That's what he's going with. Here, listen to it.
Did she tell you at all that your name appeared in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, you know, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden, we went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it, but she's handled it very well. And it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
On Texas, how many more seats do you want the Republicans to?
Then Donald Trump is asked about statements made by his daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, and she said that she thinks that there should be transparency with the files. Apparently, she didn't get her talking points yet. Watch how Donald Trump responds. Let's play it.
Mr. President, your daughter-in-law said that there should be transparency in the Epstein case. Do you agree with her, sir?
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. And I think that when you look at it, you'll understand that. I would like to see that also. But I think the Attorney General, the credibility is very important. And you want credible evidence for something like that. And I think the Attorney General has handled it very well.
How many more seats?
So you heard what he said there. He goes, Attorney General Pam Bondi's handling this well. I'm just going to defer to her here. You see how he throws her under the bus? Now, not so coincidentally, at the same time Donald Trump was doing that disastrous press conference from the White House lawn, Pam Bondi was giving a press conference at the Department of Justice. So she was asked about the Epstein list and the Epstein files, and she says, the memo speaks for itself. You should note as well that the memo, which says that the Epstein list never existed. There was no such thing, that Epstein didn't blackmail rich men who were part of his sex trafficking ring. It wasn't signed by anybody. No one wanted to put their name on it as well. But she said, look, the memo speaks to it for itself. Here, play this clip.
The president said today you would release credible files related to Mr. Epstein. Are you prepared to do that, and when would you do that?
Our memo speaks for itself, and we'll get back to you on anything else. I haven't seen all of his statements today. Thank you.
And then she was asked about the MAGA base being very upset about this. And she's like, yeah, whatever. We're focusing on the war on drugs right now. And we've moved on. Here, watch what she says after she says the memo speaks for itself. Here, play this clip.
Respond to the MAGA base that has expressed a lot of frustration about this.
We're going to fight to keep America safe again, and we're fighting together as a team. That's what's so important right now. You know, we've got a war on drugs. We've got a war on human trafficking. We've got cartels in this country, and we are going to do, we've got foreign adversaries around this world as well. And we're all going to work together as a team to fight to keep America safe again. And I can tell you that's what we're all committed to.
Now, it should be very obvious to you what went down here, right? I mean, Donald Trump ordered Pam Bondi to deep six and cover up the Epstein files, right? I mean, is it much more complicated than that? Why? Because Donald Trump's name is likely all over the files. And to the extent there's actually a list, you would assume Donald Trump's name would be one of the most prominent people on it, because based on the files that have already been released, if you assume of all of the Epstein files, about 10% of them have been released. Trump's like one of the most prominent names on all of them. He's on the flight logs. He's in the black book. He's on the call logs. He's in the deposition transcripts. He's Doe 174. He talks about Epstein, says he's a great guy. Mar-a-Lago is one of the, basically a crime scene, right? It's where underage girls were sex trafficked from. Virginia Giuffre, underage 17-year-old, was working at the a spa at Mar-a-Lago as a towel girl when she was homeless. And then Ghislaine Maxwell found her there and then sex trafficked her. That's what went down. Now, as part of the press conference that Donald Trump gave, he was asked about inflation rising last month, and then Donald Trump says, "Yeah, it only rose slightly. It's not a big deal. This is exactly where we want it to be." Here, play this clip.
From the Labor Department saying that inflation rose slightly last month.
Very slight. Essentially, they were exactly as anticipated. Very low inflation. So what you should do is lower the rate. The Fed should lower the rate immediately.
Is it because of tariffs?
We had a big win with the Supreme Court.
No, actually, it was a very bad inflation report that happened last week. Core inflation up 2.9% last month. Inflation in general was up 2.7%. Both exceeded expectations, both exceeded what it was in the prior month. And what we're really seeing now with this inflation data is that the Trump trade war against the world with these disastrous tariffs are now finally finding its way into the economic data, and that lots of things are costing more money. So I'm sure you notice it when you go to the supermarket or when you go to stores. Things cost a lot more money right now because guess what happens? Guess who pays for the tariffs? Consumers do.
So while we're talking about all this, I want to make sure we keep talking about the climate as well. Just because the Republicans passed their big disastrous budget bill doesn't mean we stop talking about it. If anything, we need to be talking about it even more. Let's talk about what this Republican budget bill means for the climate and, by the way, your wallet too. While wildfires rage, heat domes expand, and floods destroy lives from Texas to Vermont, Republicans just passed a bill that guts funding for clean energy, hikes energy costs on working families, and showers billionaire donors with tax breaks. Instead of investing in affordable solar, wind, and grid modernization, this bill doubles down on fossil fuel subsidies and gives subsidies to coal. It slashes programs that help low-income families weatherize their homes and pay utility bills, just as extreme heat is driving record demand for electricity. So, who benefits? Big oil, wealthy donors. Who pays? You, me, higher electric bills, higher gas prices, higher costs to breathe clean air and drink safe water. This bill also cuts Medicaid and food assistance, forcing families to choose between medical care, groceries, or keeping the AC on in a heat wave, all to fund luxury tax cuts for the richest people in America. This is a time where we need to be clear. This is not just bad policy, it is climate denial dressed up as a budget. Republicans are raising costs on working Americans at the worst possible time, and the American people know it. So we have to stay united and we have to stay loud. So I want to encourage you all to leave your comments about this on this video and make your voices heard. We're going to stay laser focused on these climate issues, and I want to thank you for joining us, because if we don't stop them, we are not just losing money, we are losing our future. Okay, back to you, Ben.
So Donald Trump is asked, okay, well, what are you going to do with this 50-day wait and see period with Russia right now? Because remember, everybody, Vladimir Putin told Donald Trump back on July 3rd that he needed 60 days in order to complete an offensive that he wanted to launch against Ukraine. So Donald Trump basically gave Putin 50 plus 11 plus 1. He basically gave Putin 61 days and tried to act tough. Oh, I'm going to give you 50 days. Well, obviously, you were just following Putin's plan. So Trump was asked by the reporters, what are you going to do at the end of 50 days? Here, watch his response.
50 days, what happens now? Do you talk to Vladimir Putin?
Well, at the end of 50 days, if we don't have a deal, it's going to be too bad.
But what happens? Should Zelensky get more aggressive?
Yeah, the tariffs are going to go on and other sanctions go on.
Should Zelensky target Moscow? Should Zelensky target Moscow, sir? Should Zelensky target Moscow or deeper into Russia?
No, he shouldn't target Moscow.
Is that why you gave him more weapons, though?
No, we're not looking to do that.
And you hear what he says? He goes, Zelensky shouldn't target Moscow. So let me understand this. So Putin can target Kyiv, but Zelensky can't target Moscow? That makes sense. This is, Donald Trump being tough. Come on. Oh, then Donald Trump says that he wants to see Democratic Senator Adam Schiff brought to justice because Donald Trump had his Gestapo basically gin up a claim that Schiff did something with his mortgage was registered in Maryland in 2009 when he was a congressman. So Trump's like basically having his Gestapo audit all of his political enemies and gin up potential like criminal cases, just make them up. So Trump can say, you see, he's guilty of crimes. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President.
You want Adam Schiff brought to justice.
I would love to see him brought to justice. I'll tell you what, I think Adam Schiff is one of the lowest of the low. I would love to see him brought to justice. He's a dishonest, crooked guy. I don't know about the individual charge, if that even happens. But Adam Schiff is a serious lowlife. And tomorrow,
Donald Trump is asked when the last time he spoke with Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And he goes, oh, that's when he was in my office. The reporter said, what'd you say to him? And then Donald Trump's like, I told him you do a very bad job. You're doing very bad. You're too late. Here, play this clip.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
well, when he was in my office.
And what did you tell him when he was in your office?
I told him he's doing a very bad job. He's way late. That's why I call him too late. Jerome Powell is too late. He's way late. Interest rates should be coming down. We have a very, very successful country. We should have the lowest interest rate anywhere in the world, and we don't. Jerome Powell has done a terrible job, and frankly, I don't think he could do a worse job. He's called everything wrong. So they had a report come out the other day, 71 different economists, and me. You know who was right? Me.
Mr. President.
Did you know that? I was right.
Mr. President, are you going to appoint Mr. Powell to another term as Fed chair?
You must be kidding.
Andrew, Mr. President, what are your thoughts on Andrew Cuomo?
You had to waste a question like that.
I mean, it's too late. I mean, he's the one factor right now that is calming the markets. You get rid of Jerome Powell and you start cutting interest rates by 3 basis points, and you're going to cause a Great Depression. Like inflation will look like Argentina or Hungary inflation. Oh, wait. Those are the dictators that Donald Trump likes the most. Oh, Donald Trump was asked in this disastrous press conference about AOC and Zoran Mondami. It's like, America doesn't want to see communists and Marxists. Then in a very misogynistic way, he says AOC and Congresswoman Crockett, he says they are low IQ individuals. That's just his misogyny showing. Here, play this clip.
And tomorrow morning here in Washington, AOC is hosting Zoran Mondami for breakfast.
Adam Schiff, I believe.
Sorry.
I'd love to be. I'd really love to go. I mean, I look forward to meeting them both. I know them both very well through what I read and through what I see. Look, he's a communist. I don't think our country is ready for a communist, but we're going to see. And I don't think that race is over yet either. You do have a couple of people running against, and it'll be an interesting thing. Things are coming out about him which aren't good. And, AOC, look, I think she's very nice, but she's very low IQ. And we really don't need low IQ. Between her and Crockett, we're going to give them both an IQ test to see who comes out best. Now, I took my test. I took a real test at Walter Reed Medical Center, and I aced it. I got every one of all those questions right. Now it's time for them to take a test. Anyway, have a good time. I like Dan Bongino.
No, Donald, you are a low IQ individual. They are very intelligent individuals. While Donald Trump was giving that disastrous press conference, I'll do a whole other video on this. The MAGA Republicans blocked to vote to allow debate on the release of the Epstein list to take place. So Democrats said, all right, let's vote for a debate. And then the MAGA Republicans voted to basically stop any debate on the Epstein list. So they said, vote yes, and you'll stop the Epstein list. Here, play this clip.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 210. The previous question is ordered. The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
So that's when the MAGA Republicans blocked debate on the Epstein. Let's not even talk about it. And here is Democratic Congressmember Ro Khanna talking about it. Let's play it.
Last night, the Speaker's Rules Committee voted to block my amendment that called for the full release of the Epstein files while protecting the victim's identity. Let's just be clear. They voted to protect rich and powerful men who were abusing, assaulting, and abandoning young women. That's what this vote is about. A nation that chooses impunity for the rich and the powerful at the expense of our children is a nation that has lost its moral purpose. So you ask, why did they vote this way? Let's speak plainly. Because these rich and powerful men donate to the politicians in Washington, D.C., play golf with the elites in Washington, D.C. They are foreign leaders who we don't want to offend. They interact with our intelligence agencies that we don't want to disobey. There is something rotten in Washington. And this is a question of whose side are you on? Are you on the side of the people? Are you on the side of America's children? Or are you on the side of the rich and powerful who've had their thumb on the scales and shafted Americans for decades? We are going to get a vote again this afternoon. And I hope people will find the courage of a Republican like Ralph Norman, or a Republican like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or a Republican like Thomas Massey, or the many, many MAGA Republicans who are demanding the full release of the Epstein files. It's not a question just of Epstein. It's a question of trust in our democracy. It's a question of restoring a government of the people, by the
gentleman's
people,
time has
for the
expired.
people.
Just a moment. Does the gentlelady wish to yield any additional
Another
time?
30 seconds.
Gentleman has an additional 30 seconds.
And it's a question of the rebirth of a nation that stands for our children. I hope everyone in this up or down vote will vote to make sure that the Epstein files are released while protecting victims' identity.
And here's Democratic Congresswoman Scanlon. Let's play it.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, if we defeat the previous question, I will offer an amendment to the rule to make in order amendment number 50 to H.R. 3633, offered by Representative Khanna, which requires the Attorney General to preserve and release any records related to Jeffrey Epstein. I applaud my colleagues, Representatives Veazey and Khanna, for their work to release the Epstein files. I strongly support these efforts and the release of the files. Last night at the Rules Committee, Republicans rejected an amendment that would have required the Department of Justice to release the Epstein files, multiple criminal investigations which allegedly documented trafficking of young women and girls by Jeffrey Epstein, a sex offender and financier with whom the president often socialized. For years, the president and those in his orbit, including Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel, alleged that prior administrations had covered up the identities of the rich and powerful people to whom Epstein had trafficked the girls and the facts surrounding his allegedly suspicious death. They came into office pledging to seek accountability for the horrific crimes by revealing Epstein's client list and other information, but recently backtracked and refused to release any further information. There appear to be only two explanations for this about-face. Either the Epstein files did not contain the explosive information that Trump and his allies claimed during his campaign, or this administration is the one covering up what's in the files. So last night, all of the Republicans on the Rules Committee, except one, voted against releasing the files. Why would they try to prevent the truth about Epstein's abuse and those he enabled from coming out? That's anybody's guess. But with this previous question, the entire Republican conference has the opportunity to correct that mistake. They can vote today to release the Epstein files. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to insert the text of my amendment into the record, along with any extraneous material, immediately prior to the vote on the previous question.
There you have it, folks. Keeping you posted every step of the way here, as always, on the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. Help us get to 5 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.